Hello and welcome back, audience. My name is MassiveBrad and welcome back to my FIFA 19 Southampton career mode. Now, before we get into today's episode, I just want to say a huge big thank you for the love and support on the channel. And as always, guys, at the start of these episodes, we're quickly going to look at the games that lie in today's episode. I can confirm we will be finishing off the month of December and moving into the month of January, where the January transfer window opens. And we also have another jam-packed month. But the game in today's episode is going to be the Gunners Arsenal at home in the Premier League. We have Huddersfield away from home, also in the Premier League. West Ham at home in the Premier League. And then Manchester City to finish off today's episode at home. They're coming to the St Mary's Stadium. We beat them just 2 episodes ago, 1-0 away from home at the Etihad. Hopefully, we can do the same sort of thing, but this time round when they travel to the St Mary's Stadium. So looking over those 4 games, it's pretty obvious what I'm going to do here. We're going with an Arsenal game first, which we're going to play. We're going to simulate the game against Huddersfield, simulate the game against the Hammers West Ham, and play the game against Manchester City when they travel to the St Mary's Stadium. So we're playing a game, simulating a game, and then playing the final game against Manchester City in today's episode. But before we dive into the game against Arsenal, quickly want to let you guys know, down below in the description and the comment section, there will be a straw poll regarding what we're going to do in the transfer window of January. And the reason for this is we already have a young left back coming in from Kilmarnock, and that of course is Greg Taylor. Now, in the next episode, this shortlist right here will be full of players. And you might be thinking, Brad, full of players? What players? Well, the straw poll will sum up that, guys. We will be looking to bring back an ex-Southampton player. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, wow, Gareth Bale used to play for Southampton. Van Dijk used to play for Southampton. Guys, I've only put 1 or 2 unrealistic ones that would be difficult to bring back. Like Sadio Mane, he'd be very difficult. But I'll roll off a few names now as I look over to my screen on the right so you guys get an idea of what players are going to be there. So we've got Gabbiadini, Dusan Tadic, Sadio Mane, Victor Wanyama, Schneiderlin, Shaw, Klein, Lallana, Chamberlain, Target, Ramirez. There's just a few of them. There's 15 names on this straw poll. And you guys are voting to bring one of these players that have played for Southampton over the last 5-10 years, and we're going to look to bring them back. Now, I know Sadio Mane is probably going to cost us a lot of money. I could have left Van Dijk and Bale on there, but realistically, with the 22.1 million, if we play around with the transfer budget, I think we've got a little bit of leeway there. If we take that down to more around the 60, we've got about 23 million to spend. Whoever wins, if we can't afford them, we could always look at bringing them in on loan. So, for example, if I was to pick Dusan Tadic, who's currently out in the Eredivisie with Ajax, they might want 30 million for him. So, if he comes first and we don't have enough funds to buy him, I will try and loan him. If we can't buy or loan him, and he was the top voted player, we'll move down to the second most voted player. We'll try and buy him or loan him. You guys get the idea, but there's plenty of players in there, like Graziano Pelle, Victor Wanyama, Adam Lallana, Target. Those type of players I don't think are going to cost us through the roof. I think we might be able to buy them with the current transfer budget we've got. But definitely go down below right this second, guys. Pause the video, whether you're watching it on iPhone, Android, you're watching it on your mobile, computer, laptop. Doesn't matter what you're watching it on. You can be watching it on your goddamn microwave if you want to be watching it on your microwave. Go down below now to the straw poll. I'll leave it in the description and the comment section. Click it and vote for an ex-Southampton player you would like to bring back to Southampton for our final signing in this FIFA 19 Southampton career mode. Now, bear in mind, guys, we're on episode 7 now, which means we don't have that many more episodes to go. We're finishing off the month of December in today's episode. We then move into January, which is probably going to be another 2 episodes. So that'll be episode 8 and 9. Move into February. We've only got 4 games there currently now. So there's episode 10. There's episode 11. There's episode 12. There's episode 13. And then we finish. Now, obviously, we know that in January, the FA Cup is going to kick off. We will be simulating the first 1 or 2 FA Cup games. We might get through. We might not. If we do, we'll continue to progress. But what I want to do is I want to simulate all the way to the point of where we're in the round of 16. One stage before the quarterfinals. We're then going to play the round of 16. If we win that game, we're through to the quarterfinals. Then we'll play the quarters, play the semis, and, of course, play the finals. But to kick off today's episode, we are facing off against Arsenal. We're in a great great position right now. We are currently joint top with the league leaders ourselves, Manchester City and also Bournemouth. The upfall for us is Bournemouth and City have already played their 17th game. We beat Arsenal for this first game at home. We move up to 32 points, putting us 3 points clear on joint second position, Manchester City and Bournemouth. Now, the last episode was called something like, we've destroyed Manchester City or we've ruined Manchester City, because in the 21 points they've had up for grabs over the last 7 games, they've managed to bag 3. 21 points up for grabs, and Pep Guardiola and his team have managed to bag 3 points. So they have come from 3 draws. This has all gone downhill from Manchester City since we beat them 1-0 earlier on in the month of November. We have ruined Manchester City. We said at the start of the game, I'm hopeful if we beat them, we'll send them into a downward spiral path. And that is exactly what we've done. They then lost to United. They drew to West Ham. They lost to Watford. They lost to Bournemouth. They drew to Chelsea. They're seriously going downhill right now, and this is exactly what we wanted. So we need to make sure, while we're in a great position right now, to build a little bit of a gap by the end of today's episode. Maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe even 6 points clear on whoever is going to be in second position. We've got a great opportunity now to start growing that gap, and that's why we've got to capitalise, and we have to continue our winning ways. We have to beat Arsenal in this game up next. We're going with Danny Ings and Che Adams up top in the striker position. Armstrong, Lamina, Ward-Prowse and Sims in the midfield, with McQueen, Stevens, Danso and Mailer at the back, and Angus Gunn between the sticks. Unfortunately, we have had to rotate the team quite a lot. We've had to change a lot of the positions there. We know that El Yunusi is out injured right now, so in that left mid position, we only have Nathan Redmond. Currently now looking to play an Armstrong out there. He can't even play at left mid, but I have no other choices. Lamina coming into the midfield. The only players I'm looking at there that have currently been in our starting 11 is Che Adams, Ward-Prowse and Angus Gunn. And all 3 of those players are not fully fit. So especially Ward-Prowse and Che Adams, they will need to come off in the second half. But I still have to play a decent team because we're playing the Gunners and they are not an easy team. But as they travel to the St Mary's Stadium, I'm hopeful we can get the win. And if we bag those 3 points, we go clear by 3 points, top of the Premier League. Come on, you mighty Saints. We are absolutely killing it right now in the Premier League. We're doing so well as well. In the Carabao Cup, we've bagged ourselves a place in the semi-finals, in which next month we will face off against Wolverhampton Wanderers over the 2 legs in that semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. We're either going to be facing off against Manchester United or Aston Villa in the final, hopefully, of the Carabao Cup if we are to do over Wolves. We're in a great position right now. Look at that. Unbelievable position right now. Spurs are only a game behind us. Spurs right now are the only team worrying me, and potentially in a position to knock us off the top spot if we do go top of the Premier League. Mesut Ozil, 2 goals in his previous game, 1 to definitely watch out for. Arsenal got a fabulous team. They've started off the Premier League in real life pretty decent so far. Liverpool have just done them over, but they've started off pretty well. Win the header, nicely done, beautiful. Armstrong into the middle now for Josh Sims. Josh Sims into Danny Ings, onto his right foot, looks to bend the one, and Danny Ings once again has scored for the Saints. We've certainly struggled over the last couple of episodes with Danny Ings scoring. I do believe he scored 1 in a simulated game. He did score in the last episode, but he certainly hasn't found his scoring ways just yet. But now he's scored 2 in 2 episodes. Beautiful goal there. Bends it between the legs of the Arsenal defender, out of the reach of Bird Leno. And it's into the back of the net. We lead Arsenal 1-0 right now. Nicely done. They play off through now to Josh Sims. Josh Sims looking at running at this Arsenal defence right now. He's going to get caught by Medley. Let's cut this back into Che Adams, into Danny Ings. Armstrong's there on the volley. Armstrong gets the side netting. That was a nice bit of counter-attacking football there from Josh Sims. Armstrong with his right-footed volley, sadly into the side netting and not into the inside of the net. But a great chance there from the Saints. Dancer going to ping one over that far side, looking for McQueen, who's going to look to head this one, and he has done. It's a great header there to Armstrong. And the Saints are coming once again. Let's cut this back. Nice little thinking now for Che Adams in the middle. It's cleared away. Lamina's going to bring this one down to Ward-Prowse. Going to get round his man. Still Ward-Prowse coming forward. Let's play it in now to Che Adams. Let's cut it back into Ward-Prowse. Ward-Prowse through on goal. Great save there from Leno.
Corner now for Southampton.
And thankfully for Arsenal, Bird Leno with a huge save there as we pull it back from Che Adams into Ward-Prowse. If he scores that, they're 2-0 down before half-time. They've got a serious problem on their hands. And Melee now coming forward. Nicely done. Let's cut this back. Go to the edge of the box here. Ings lays it off to Ward-Prowse. Going to get a shot off. Big save there from Leno. The referee's blown his whistle. I'm not sure what this is. It's a yellow card for Danso. That was obviously the tackle there on Aubameyang. Not happy with that whatsoever. Let's look for Mario Lemina. Ball in. Lemina's going to be there. Looks to head it on. It's cleared out to Stevens. It's missed Stevens and fell to Aubameyang. The referee's going to say enough's enough in that first half. He's going to blow for half time at the St Mary's Stadium. Unbelievable result so far. Unbelievable result so far. We're going in 1-0 up against the Gunners at home. We are going to now look at making some changes. I've got to bring off some of the players that weren't fully fit. So Che Adams making his way to the bench for Obafemi. I'm also going to bring Romeo on for Ward-Prowse. Not going to make any changes just yet. Maybe look at bringing Bednarek or Valerie on, depending on how Melee and Danso. In fact, probably Valerie's not going to come on. I want to save Valerie for the game later on against Manchester City. But a great result so far in that first half as Aubameyang looks at kicking us off in the second half period. If we can do the same and repeat what we just done in the first half, I have no doubt we can beat Arsenal and get a result here and go top at the Premier League. Up to Romeo, inside to Obafemi, who's going to come forward now into Danny Ings. Back to Obafemi. Obafemi's looking at shrugging off the defender here. Ball through now to Danny Ings, who's through on goal. He's just managed somehow to put that one wide. Beautiful ball in there from Obafemi. Danny Ings slid in. I wish he'd have stayed up on his feet and tried to slot that one into the bottom right. In fact, he slides at it and puts it just wide of goal. Romeo over to Obafemi, into Danny Ings. Danny Ings laying it off to Obafemi. He's going to lose it there to El Neni. Oh, look at this. Armstrong could be away. Armstrong through on goal. Going to hit this first time. Armstrong looks to drill him one across the face of goal. David Luiz was there to have that one covered. There's Mkhitaryan. Mario Lemina off. Højbjerg on. Is Pepe now. Lichtensteiner puts the ball in. Let's go, Angus Gunn. Big save there from Angus Gunn, who didn't come out for it. And Mirza Eza was there. We can't afford to drop points here, lads. We've absolutely smashed it. Get rid of that ball. Nicely done. Let's chase this down, Højbjerg. Come on, let's just get rid of this ball. Let's get it. And there we go. The referee's going to blow for full time at the St Mary's Stadium. We've beaten Arsenal 1-0, just like we did to City. And we move top of the Premier League. Absolutely unbelievable result. 6 shots for us, 2 being on target. Arsenal had 1 shot, it wasn't even on target. Not quite the stats that I would have liked for ourselves, but on paper we deserve to win. We did manage to get that win. Josh Sims picks up man of the match with an 8.8 rating. He played absolutely unbelievable in that right mid position. We beat Arsenal 1-0. We march on into the second game up next against Huddersfield. It is a simulated game, but we should be now sitting top of the Premier League. 3 points clear on Bournemouth and Manchester City. Right guys, and here we are at the next match. We're about to face off away from home against Huddersfield in the Premier League. It is going to be a simulated game, which means our fate is in the hands of the EA gods. Unfortunately, in the last episode, we lost 1-0 to Spurs. That was a little bit of a bummer when we lost 1-0 to Spurs, because the situation now is Spurs are top of the Premier League. We didn't move up to first position, but then when they advanced all the way to the Huddersfield game, Spurs had played their 17th game, and they now lead us by 2 points. So obviously the next 2 games we play in this episode are Huddersfield and West Ham, both of them being simulated. We could really do with winning both of those games, because we need to keep up with Spurs. And then the last game in today's episode we're playing is against Manchester City, which we're already 3 points clear on Manchester City and Bournemouth, but more the fact focus on Manchester City. If we beat them, we're already 3 points clear. Depending on what they do in their next 2 games and we do in our next 2 games, if we both teams win their next 2, we'd still be 3 points clear. We beat them, we go 6 points clear. So realistically right now, depending on what happens in these next 2 games, will depend on where we finish at the end of today's episode. We could do with Spurs dropping some points in their next 2, and then if we go on to beat City, we could be in a great position to take back the lead of the Premier League leaders. But right now we have to kind of forget about the league and we have to focus on this game against Huddersfield. Now, putting a lineup like this, we brought some of the big names back into it. I can also say that El Yunusi is back from injuries 2 weeks back early. Still got a plaster next to his name, so I'm not going to risk him just yet, but I think he will play in the Manchester City game that we actually physically play. For the 2 games up next against Huddersfield and West Ham, I think I'll keep him benched or keep him in the reserves so he doesn't come on and risk making that injury any worse. But we're going with Lautaro Martinez up top with Che Adams in the striker position, Redmond, Højbjerg, Ward-Prowse and Djenepo in the midfield, with McQueen, Vestergaard, Bednarek and Mailer at the back, and Angus Gunn between the sticks. It's Huddersfield. On paper, I think this should be a very difficult game for both teams. They are currently coming off the back end of a 2-1 loss, a 1-0 victory over Newcastle, and a 2-0 victory over Brighton. So they have won their last 2. We have also won our last 2. We've won the last few, actually, to be honest. Let's hope as the players warm up, we can get off to a great start away from home and beat Huddersfield. We're 15 minutes in and nothing has happened just yet. 20 minutes fast approaching. Moy misses a penalty for Huddersfield. That's great news for us. Bednarek picks up a yellow card in the 28th minute. When I went to the second half, apart from a penalty missed and a yellow card, nothing happening in the first half, really. Smith picks up a yellow card in the 53rd minute for Huddersfield. Come on, lads, what's going on? We can't afford a 0-0 draw here. Fast approaching the last 10 minutes. We're into the dying embers of the game. Are we going to find a late one? We're not, and we're actually going to drop 2 points and only manage to bag the 1 point as we draw with Huddersfield away from home. Not quite the result we wanted, but on the plus side, Moy missed a penalty, which means he could have put it high, he could have put it wide, or more the fact, Angus Gunn might have stepped up and pulled off a save. We could have easily lost and dropped all points. So the fact we're away from home, the fact it's in the hands of the EA gods, 1 point against Huddersfield away from home, we'll have to take it. So even after that Huddersfield 0-0 draw, somehow we still managed to stay 3 points ahead of City, Liverpool and Bournemouth, which makes me think, and also Spurs, they're only 2 points ahead of us. It makes me think that something happened in some of those games. City surely must have drawn. So as we move up the list, Man City drew 2-2 to Palace. They can't even beat Crystal Palace, who, to be fair, actually are down in 7th position. Man City draw another game. Bournemouth draw 1-1 to Brighton. Spurs draw 1-1 away from home to Everton. That was our chance to capitalise. If we would have won our game, we would have been joint top with Spurs now on 35 points. That was our chance to take the lead, and we didn't take it. We sadly drew 0-0 to Huddersfield. But it's good the fact that Spurs slipped up, Bournemouth slipped up, City slipped up, Liverpool obviously won to move up to 30 points. But only 2 points between us and Spurs. Bearing in mind we've got to play City at the end of today's episode. This game is massive. We don't beat the Hammers here, and I think we might struggle to stay in the top 4 by the end of today's episode. Because if we lose to Hammers, or West Ham should I say, and then lose to City, we're not guaranteed that win against City. Just because I'm physically playing the game doesn't mean we're going to win it. But if we don't get this win over West Ham, we're going to have bigger problems when we face off against Manchester City. But the lineup we are putting out against West Ham is Lautaro Martinez linking up top with Che Adams, Armstrong, Højbjerg, Ward-Prowse and Sims in the midfield, with Bertrand, Stevens, Bednarek and Mailer at the back, and Angus Gunn between the sticks. I'm excited to play the game against Man City because we're bringing our young man back in, El Yunusi, to play at that left mid position. We'll have our right mid, Djenepo, back in there. We'll have to make definitely a few changes because it's going to be a difficult one against City. We have punished them and ruined Manchester City since we last played them. I don't think they have won a single game since we beat them for the first week in November. They have drawn, they have lost, but as far as I can see, they have not won a single game since we beat them. So our plan was to send them into a downward spiral. That is exactly what we did. But let's go ahead and get these players warmed up. We're about to kick off against West Ham as the referee blows his whistle. Lads, we need a win here. 10 minutes in, nothing happened just yet. Trying to keep an eye on the latest scores as well. 20 minutes in, Yarmolenko scores for West Ham in the 22nd minute, and Bertrand is also red carded. Che Adams manages to score back in the 32nd minute. We are now down to 10 men. This is going to be a big problem. Pablo Hernandez, or it could be the other Hernandez actually, Chicharito Hernandez scores in the 52nd. Fornal scores in the 67th. This is over. We have been absolutely battered by West Ham. The referee blows his full-time whistle, and we've lost to West Ham. If you glimpse down at the latest scores in the bottom right, you'll also see that Leicester City scored. Perez scored in the 78th minute to beat Manchester City 3-2. So Man City again have lost another game. What is it going to take for City to turn this round? They are in some serious, serious trouble, and I'll be amazed if Man City are even in the top 4 by the end of today's episode. But we suffer an embarrassing 3-1 loss to West Ham at home. Absolutely shocking. Bertrand's getting a red card. Come on, son. That is not good enough. You cannot be doing that. I was quite happy because Yarmolenko scored and then Adams, Cherdam scored back. I was quite happy with that thing and we're back in the game. But then Chicharito Hernandez went and scored and Fornals also scored. So to lose 3-1 to West Ham when it was important we got that win, well, that's not exactly the result we wanted. Now it's all going to come down and a lot of pressure put on the players when we face off against Manchester City up next. So that wasn't quite the result we were looking for. I thought, realistically, we drew 0-0 with Huddersfield away from home. I thought I'd take the point. And then I thought the EA gods, with us being at home, would be a little bit kind and let us have the win over West Ham. In fact, they thought the exact opposite and decided that they'd let West Ham kill us off and beat us 3-1, which is a little bit of a pain in the bum because now you can see that Liverpool have caught up with us. We're currently joined second with them on 33 points. Spurs have pushed on a little bit and now sit on 38 points. Manchester City have dropped out of the top. They lost 3-2 to Leicester in their last game. They've dropped out of the top 4 now. And when you look at that top 6, Bournemouth, Burnley, Southampton, half of those, the top 6 teams, 3 of them, would not normally be in the top 6 after 19 games played. So there seems to be something going on this year in the Premier League because there's so many teams that don't usually do this well doing so well. I mean, Leicester getting 3 points to Manchester City is unbelievable. We beat Manchester City. Burnley have beat Manchester City. Bournemouth beat Manchester City. Some of the more mid-table littler teams are seriously putting up a fight this year, and this is exactly what we're looking for. And although coming off the back end now of a 3-1 West Ham loss is not the exact result of going into the game against Man City now, where they're going to look to be bouncing back as well because they have had seriously poor form since we beat them 1-0 back at the start of November. But I just think that, you know, West Ham beating us 3-1, it's not the result we wanted, but EA's given us a challenge by throwing a terrible, terrible result in there and making us lose 3-1. This is where the pressure's on, and as a manager, we have to bounce back, and in a massive game against Manchester City like we've got now, this is where we seriously have to use our tactics, our players. We have to do the right moves, tactics, and all that palaver, because City right now, 3 points behind us, they beat us, they're back into the top 4 and potentially knocking us out of the top 4, and that is not what we want. And hopefully El Yunusi is back into the team, unfortunately playing at the right mid position because Djenepo isn't fully fit, so we're bringing him back in the right mid position, keeping Redmond out on the left mid position. But hopefully with this team we should be able to do a job against City and get that very important win, and most importantly keep those 3 points at the St Mary's Stadium. But we're going with Lautaro Martinez up top with Danny Ings in the striker positions, Redmond, Højbjerg, Romeo and El Yunusi in the midfield, with McQueen, Vestergaard, Danso and Valerie at the back, and Angus Gunn between the sticks. It's the last game in today's episode. We are going to be playing it. We know what we've got to do. We've come out against Manchester City when we were at the Etihad and beat them 1-0. Surely we can get another result like that and bag those 3 important points. Well, I said first time we met Manchester City when they were top of the Premier League that it was the biggest game we were going to face this year. I might be able to change that. It'll still be the biggest game of the year, but this time they're at the St Mary's Stadium because we win this and we're hopefully going to keep up with Spurs, and I think if we continue to beat some of the bigger teams we will keep our place in the top, which is unbelievable. But I think, you know, Man City up there, 31 goals for, top scoring teams. We managed to beat Pep last time 1-0. They didn't score against us. We defended well. Okay, we've had to put out a little bit of a different lineup. We normally have Vestergaard and Bednarek at the back. We're in fact playing Vestergaard and Danso at the back. But I'm thinking to myself that when we were playing the current at the time league leaders, it was one of the biggest games in our career so far. This is probably bigger than the first time we played them because not only are we at home with plenty of home fans here supporting us, it also depends whether they're about to knock us out of the top 4 or not. And realistically, we fought hard to get into this top 4. I'd like to keep us there as Danny Ings gets us kicked off in this first half period. Let's get it underway. Let's see what damage we can do. Little 1-2 Lautaro Martinez. Back to Danny Ings. Back to Lautaro Martinez. Through on goal. Lautaro Martinez puts us 1-0 up. We don't lay down and we don't take L's. I hope I'm not going to be brought back to eat those words, but after 10 minutes, beautiful bit of 1-2 football there with Danny Ings and Lautaro Martinez. Ings eventually splits the defenders, puts a nice little through ball through to Lautaro Martinez, who takes a touch on his left, onto his right, and doesn't go with a finesse on the inside of the boot. In fact, goes with the outside of the boot and drills it past the keeper between the sticks. We are 1-0 up after just 11 minutes. Lautaro Martinez going out wide now to Nathan Redmond, who's going to cut back on Kyle Walker. Nice little thinking now, looking for Danny Ings in the middle. It's clear the way. Only as far as Redmond. Nice little touch. And again, ball in. Højbjerg! It's 2-0! Oh, what has happened to this City team? Absolute scenes at the St Mary's Stadium. Gary Lineker, Alan Shearer. When you tune in to watch Match of the Day tonight, we'll be shocked through and through. We are 2-0 up after 14 minutes. And what a goal from the skipper. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, brought in from Bayern Munich. He's been at the club for years and he's just scored potentially one of the most important goals in his career. Fernandinho playing it down now to Foden. Ball through there to Jesus. It's 2-1. Well, it only takes City to go from gear 3 to gear 5 with one smooth movement. Through on goal. And it's in the back of the net. Fernandinho over to Foden, who just slides it in behind. Vestergaard come out of position. He left Gabriel Jesus too much space. He just guides it onto his stronger right foot. Smashes one home. And Angus gone had no chance. We are 2-1 up currently against Manchester City. Lautaro Martinez go through now to Danny Ings. It's going out wide now to El Yunusi, who's going to try and do lovely bit of skill there. El Yunusi, nice that ball in now for Lautaro Martinez, who went for the acrobatic. I wish he'd have just put his laces through it. Beautiful. Lautaro Martinez go up to Danny Ings. Through now to Lautaro Martinez. Come on, son. Here comes Lautaro Martinez. Through on goal. Lautaro Martinez. It's 3-1. And Lautaro Martinez is on for his hat-trick. What a signing. Brought in on loan from the Italian team Inter Milan. He's been absolutely incredible. 50k a week, we should be paying him double that. A man that can score goals whenever we need them. All the pressure there from Walker, from Humphreys, from Fernandinho. 3 players chasing him down. But he stays calm, he stays collected. And he puts it in the back of the net to put us 3-1 up after just 27 minutes. This, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be a goddamn cricket score. Gundogan's going to get a touch on that one. Ball comes in. Vestergaard should have that one, no problem. Here's Romeo, looks at playing the ball out. The referee said enough's enough. He's blown the whistle for half time. We're going in 3-1 up against Manchester City. Okay, we haven't kept a clean sheet, but they are current Premier League leaders for scoring goals, 31 this season. So Man City are known for scoring goals. The fact they've only been able to score 1 past us, we've punished them and managed to put 3 past them. And I honestly think in this second half, we can easily put another 2 or 3 past them. So we continue our ways in this second half. As Gabriel Jesus gets us kicked off, we could easily win this 4-5, maybe even 6-1. El Yunusi into Lautaro Martinez, round the corner out to Højbjerg. Højbjerg through on goal! It's 4-1! The captain once again, not only has he now scored with his head, he's also scored with his boot. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, beautiful goal to beat Edison between the sticks. Split the defenders, dragged it out towards the left, buried it in the top right corner. Walking out of position, wasn't man marking him. And it's a great goal from the skipper, Højbjerg. His fourth goal in the Premier League. His second goal in just this game. It's 4-1. Pep Guardiola's tactics have not worked here yet. Valerie going to chase that one in behind. Don't let him put the cross in. Oh, Gabriel Jesus was there. Let's clear that out from McQueen. Win the header. Jump for it. Nicely done. Danny Ings wins it. Up to Redmond. Adams. In now to Danny Ings. Going round to Ward-Prowse. Ward-Prowse looking to get the better here of Zinchenko. He has done. Here comes Ward-Prowse. Through on goal. Going to square it over now to Danny Ings. It's not going to happen as Edison collects that ball. To Bernardo Silva. Let's take this ball off Silva. Nicely done. Keep going, El Yunusi. Back to Fernandinho. Through now to Silva. Little cheeky ball in. Valerie's on that one. El Yunusi playing out from the back. Manuel Lemina. Up to Che Adams. Che Adams holding this ball now. Let's go and put Redmond in behind. Come on, Ings. I need you to stick with me, son. And I tell you what, Ward-Prowse coming in towards the back post. We've got Manuel Lemina. Nice ball in. Lemina's there. It's 5-1. You couldn't write this, even if you tried.
He's had a miserable time, as have the losing side here.
You could not write the fact. When in history, I'd have to look back at this, when in history did the St. Southampton beat Manchester City 5-1?
Defenders caught out by it in the end. Well, here's the goal.
I am over the moon that we took on the St. Southampton for this final FIFA 19 career mode, because what a team we've got. They show so much passion, so much heart. And there we go, the referee's going to blow for full time. We've beaten Manchester City. We beat them at the Etihad 1-0. I was hopeful for a similar result, but we didn't just get the same result as in being a win. We've done it with class and style. After hammering Manchester City, who are still on a downward spiral. After so many losses and draws, they are yet to have won a game since we beat them 1-0. And that terrible streak for Pep Guardiola continues as we beat Manchester City 5-1. What a result. Højbjerg picking up 2. Lautaro Martinez picking up 2. And Mario Lemina scoring a tap-in towards the end of the game in like the 91st minute. We had 7 shots, 6 on target. 5 of them ended up in the back of the net. City having 2 shots, both of them on target, very consistent with their shots to shots on target. Ethan Redmond picks up man of the match with a 9.5 rating, but we've just beat one of the best teams in the Premier League 5-1 at the St Mary's Stadium. What a game it was for you guys at home, and what a game it was for the home fans. Right guys, and here we are back at the Central for the final time in today's episode. We are finishing the episode currently joint second with my team that I support, Liverpool, joint on 36 points. We've all now played 20 games. Spurs are still league leaders, currently 5 points ahead of us. I'm sure we've got to play Spurs again before the end of the season, but it'd be nice if we could close the gap a little bit more. We have now pushed a little bit of a gap between ourselves and 4th position Chelsea, who currently sit on 32 points. There's a 4-point gap there. Ourselves and Burnley, who are down in 5th, we have a 5-point gap. And Manchester City, who are about to drop out of the 6, currently sat down in 6th position on 30 points. We have a 6-point gap between them. So considering Manchester City were the league leaders pretty much from the start, but I honestly didn't think Spurs would be top of the Premier League, clear by 5 points as well. Us and Liverpool doing everything we can to chase down Spurs, and we will continue that in the next episode. But before we end today's episode, a few things we need to look over. As we jump over to the inbox, we can see that now Greg Taylor has come to Southampton. We signed him just outside the last transfer window. Unfortunately, we couldn't agree on contract terms. I also mentioned at the start of today's episode, if you missed it, there will be a straw poll down below in the description and the comment section. You guys are voting to bring one of those players back. We currently have 23.57 million, pretty much 23.5 million in the transfer budget, with a £68,000 a week weekly wage. So obviously the likes of Van Dijk and Bale, they're not in there because we won't be able to afford them. There was 2 unrealistic ones, like Sadio Mane, who we just realistically wouldn't be able to afford his wages or his transfer budget. But I thought I'd include as many players as I could, and I thought Mane may as well be in there. If Mane does win and we can't sign him, then we obviously move down the list and try and sign one of the other players. So if Mane was top, we try and buy him. If that falls through, we try and get him on loan. If that falls through, we move down to whoever comes second in the straw poll. We try and buy them. If that doesn't work, we try and loan them. If that doesn't work, we move down to number 3. You guys get the idea. So think realistically, as a Southampton manager, if you were manager of Southampton, who would you be bringing back to the club? What position do you think we maybe need an extra player in there? You know, at left back, we could look at bringing back Luke Shaw, but we've got McQueen, who's now our 3rd left back. We've got Greg Taylor, who's just come in as our 2nd left back. And we've got Ryan Bertrand as our 1st starting left back. So left back, we probably don't really need that. Adam Lallana, he could fit, I suppose, in the midfield. You've also got like Sadio Mane. We could play him out on the left mid to help out Redmond and El Yunusi. But we've got El Yunusi back now to play with Redmond in the left mid position. We've then also got Genipo to come back to full fitness to play in the right mid position. Maybe we need to look at a right mid player. There's plenty of options, so definitely go and vote on that straw poll down below in the description and comment section. And as we end today's episode, guys, quickly take a look at the calendar to see what lies ahead in the next episode. So we have Chelsea away from home in the Premier League. We have the first game against Plymouth in the FA Cup. We did play Plymouth, funny enough, in the Carabao Cup for our first game as well. We simulated it, and I'm sure we beat them 3 or 4-0. So obviously, with the FA Cup, we have said we're going to be simulating the first, maybe 2, maybe even 3. I want to simulate to the point where we get to the round of 16. So one stage before the quarterfinals. We then face off against Wolves for the first leg in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. And then we play against Leicester City. So it's pretty obvious for me. We're playing Chelsea away from home in the Premier League. We're simulating the game in the FA Cup against Plymouth. We're playing the first leg against Wolves in the Carabao Cup. And then we're simulating the game against Leicester for the final game in the next episode. We also will be signing someone in either episode 8, which is the next one, or episode 9 before we end the January transfer window. You guys will have voted, so by the next episode, we'll have an idea of what player we are going to be signing. But we are now into the January transfer window. We've signed our first player, Greg Taylor from Kilmarnock, and I am excited to see what other player or players we may well look to bring in the month of January. But that is going to do it for today's episode, guys. And if you have enjoyed it, please do give it a big thumbs up for me. Don't forget to drop your comments down below. If you're new around here, click that subscribe button. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. And I've been MassiveBrad. Peace out.